This video is part 2 of my ongoing series about the 2022 French presidential election, so please be sure to check out part 1 of the series linked in the description box below. As 2022 draws closer, the French left is searching for a candidate to rally their electorate and take on both incumbent President Emmanuel Macron and far-right leader Marine Le Pen. Previously, I covered the divisions and challenges facing the French left amidst the present uncertainty. Now with municipal and Senate elections behind them, all eyes are looking ahead to 2022 and the presidential race. There has already been talk among the French left about uniting behind a single candidacy. Figures from the PS, EELV, La France Insoumise, and their respective allies have all floated the idea of a common candidate for the left. The exception to this has been the PCF, which has reiterated its commitment to fielding its own candidate for the Elysee. However, such a unity candidate will be difficult to find, and the question stands as to which candidate, if any, could rally the left and defeat both Macron and Le Pen. Several candidates have been proposed as potential standard bearers for the left in 2022, but so far only one candidate has announced their intention to run, that being Jean-Luc Melenchon of La France Insoumise. Melanchon has been a figure within the French left for more than 2 decades, serving as a senator, minister for higher education, MEP, 2-time presidential candidate, and now a member of the National Assembly. Formerly a member of the PS, he broke with the party in 2009 to establish his own Parti de Gauche. He soon established himself as the standard bearer for the anti-liberal left, and served as the presidential candidate for the Front de Gauche in 2012, where he won more than 11% of the vote and 4th place overall. He and his Parti de Gauche broke with the Front in 2016, setting up La France Insoumise in the lead-up to the 2017 election. In that year's presidential race, he won more than 19% of the vote, again coming in 4th, but he was only narrowly behind 3rd place finisher François Fillon of the Republicans and less than 2 points behind Le Pen. Melanchon is a staunch left-wing populist and democratic socialist, who identifies himself in the Republican socialist and historical materialist tradition of Jean Jaurès, the father of the modern French socialist movement. He is an advocate for labor rights, wealth redistribution, and the welfare state, and opposes neoliberalism and austerity. He is also a committed eco-socialist and has supported degrowth and animal rights and personally espouses veganism. In 2017, his environmental platform was viewed by many as the strongest ecological program of any candidate. He has also praised what he called the creolization of French society, opposes bans on women wearing the veil in public, and has called for resolving the controversy around pork-free alternatives in school lunches by introducing vegetarian options. More recently, he has been critical of the Islamophobic policies promoted by Emmanuel Macron at the end of 2020. However, his signature issue has long been the establishment of a 6th republic, by calling a constituent assembly to draft a new constitution. This new constitution would reduce the powers of the president, which he calls the presidential monarchy, establish proportional representation for the National Assembly, and enshrine social rights and environmental protections into the constitution. Melanchon is also critical of the European Union, and has called for the renegotiation of EU treaties, or failing that, a French exit from the EU, which he refers to as Plan B. This is very much at odds with the pro-EU leanings of the EELV and the PS, and this will likely be a major stumbling block for many ecologists and socialists in supporting him in 2022. Melanchon is also widely seen as a controversial figure in France, especially among the left. He is well known for his confrontational style and rhetoric, and has been accused of demagoguery, conspiracism, and even anti-Semitism. One political scientist has described Melanchon's political style as Machiavellian with a hint of cynicism, willing to use conspiracy theories and even quasi-xenophobic rhetoric to win as much support as possible to win power as quickly as possible, although he rarely adheres to his more divisive statements. Although he has long claimed that his goal is to unite the left, he has garnered a reputation as an uncompromising and even dogmatic figure. Critics often accuse him of egotism or of waging a scorched earth strategy against his rivals on the left. Despite this, in the lead-up to his announcement, he stated that he would seek to be the common candidate for the ecologists and the left, and has made overtures to other parties and potential candidates, most notably EELV candidates Yannick Jadot and Piolle. He also appeared to tone down some of his more divisive and bombastic rhetoric. When he announced his candidacy in November 2020, he stated that his strategies would be changing in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, but also noted that the health crisis provided new opportunities to strengthen social solidarity in France and develop a culture of mutual aid. The media described him as presenting a more mellow and even jocular demeanor as opposed to his more confrontational style. Melanchon is currently polling around 12%, well ahead of the PS and EELV. Polls of left-wing voters show that he is one of the most popular choices to lead the left in 2022. However, he will likely struggle to rally the entirety of the left behind him due to his divisive reputation and his Eurosceptic leanings. However, his recent change in style may indicate a willingness to work with other parties on the left, although he has clearly set out to position himself as the left's standard-bearer. Although he lags well behind Macron and Le Pen, Melanchon is a well-known entity in French politics who has had an exceptionally strong performance in 2017, and he has demonstrated an ability to increase his support in previous elections. As a result, Melanchon may be the best positioned candidate for the left to win the Elysee in 2022. Although Melanchon is the first and so far only candidate to declare their formal candidacy for 2022, there has already been considerable discussion around the EELV in the wake of their successes in the municipal and recent Senate elections. While no EELV candidates have stepped forward as of now, it is already clear that the Ecologist will play a significant role in swaying the left's direction in 2022. So far, two main contenders have emerged from the EELV: MEP Yannick Jadot, who is widely considered the favorite, and Grenoble Mayor Eric Piolle. Yannick Jadot got his start as the director for Greenpeace France, quickly emerging as one of the leaders of the French environmental movement. He entered politics in the 2009 European elections, winning a seat as an MEP for the Europe Ecology Coalition, which later merged into the EELV. He won re-election in 2014. In 2016, he ran in the ecologist primaries in the lead-up to the 2017 presidential election, winning in the second round. His campaign for the presidency, however, was short-lived. He soon withdrew his candidacy after he allied with PS candidate Benoît Hamon, and the alliance was ultimately a failure for the EELV, but established himself as a leading figure within the party. He was chosen to lead the party's list in the 2019 European parliamentary elections, outperforming expectations. They won over 13% of the vote in the election and cemented his status as a leader within the EELV. Jadot is firmly positioned on the moderate wing of the EELV. Although he has recognized the EELV as part of the French left, he has stated that ecology is not of the left. Ecology wants to occupy a central place in the political debate. Ecology is much more than the left. He has also expressed support for free enterprise, and his stated desire is to unite the left and center of French politics around ecological issues. Jadot has thus been dubbed an eco-realist by the media, as opposed to an eco-socialist. He is also more hostile to the anti-liberal left, especially Melanchon and La France Insoumise. As a result, he is considered ideologically closer to the German Greens, much to the dismay of the EELV's leftist and anti-liberal wings. He is also staunchly pro-European, favoring European federalism and the creation of a European army to replace NATO. Jadot has made little secret about his intentions to run in 2022, although he has not yet formally announced his candidacy. His prominence within the EELV and French politics as a whole has made him the presumptive candidate in 2022, with most polls even listing him as the EELV candidate. However, his support has been consistently lower than Melanchon, with only 7 to 8% compared to 12 to 13%. Jadot's main rival within the EELV is Grenoble Mayor Eric Piolle. Piolle is widely considered a long shot for the EELV's candidacy, let alone the Elysee, but has still garnered significant media speculation. An engineer by training, Piolle has spent much of his life in the private sector. He worked for Hewlett-Packard's Grenoble plant, eventually becoming senior manager. HP fired him in 2011 after he refused to set up a relocation plan for the facility, which would have resulted in layoffs for local workers. He had made several forays into politics throughout his life, and in 2010 won an election as a regional councillor for Isère with Europe Ecology. But his big breakthrough came in 2014. He led an alliance of the EELV, Mélenchon's Parti de Gauche, and two smaller leftist parties in the municipal elections in Grenoble that year. His alliance won an upset victory over the incumbent PS-led administration, and he was elected mayor of the Alpine city famous for its ski resorts and scientific research centers. This made Piolle the first EELV mayor of a major French city. As mayor of Grenoble, he has fought to reduce pollution, welcomed newly arrived immigrants and refugees, made abandoned houses available to the homeless, opposed the expansion of a major motorway for environmental reasons, banned advertising billboards in public places, and introduced new speed limits, bike lanes, and pedestrian streets. He has also provoked controversy when he awarded the key to the city to Cédric Herrou, an anarchist activist who was jailed for helping migrants cross the Franco-Italian border. Piolle's policies have put him into conflict with the business community in Grenoble. but he increased his mandate at the 2020 municipal elections, and his coalition was joined by La France Insoumise, the PCF, Ensemble, Generations, Place Publique, and several smaller ecologist and leftist parties. Piolle is positioned firmly on the left of the EELV and favors a closer relationship with the parties of the anti-liberal left. He is a staunch feminist, a fierce critic of austerity and neoliberalism, and a strong supporter of a Green New Deal. Although he has not identified himself as such, many consider him to be an eco-socialist. In the 2017 presidential election, he broke with the EELV and supported Melanchon, calling Melanchon the candidate of the cultural majority which wants change. Within the EELV, he has emerged as a leader of the leftist wing opposed to Jadot's more moderate approach. This has resulted in some bad blood between the two, with the two reportedly refusing to speak to one another. Despite his growing status in French politics, Piolle is still a relatively unknown figure, and doesn't have a significant national following like Melanchon or Jadot. However, he has demonstrated an ability to unite the left within his community, and he remains close with other parties of the left, which could make him an ideal choice for a common candidacy. He has said he intends to make up his mind about a potential candidacy by the spring of 2021, although it is rumored he may forego a candidacy in favor of Melanchon. After a series of splits and lackluster performances, the PS has been left with no clear direction and is on the verge of bankruptcy. A leaked report from October 2017 noted that there was no guarantee the PS would be able to financially support a presidential candidate in 2022, and rumors have circulated the PS may not field a candidate at all, with some in the party hinting a willingness to back the EELV's candidate. Still, some potential candidates have been suggested, including former President François Hollande, 2007 presidential candidate Ségolène Royal, and party First Secretary Olivier Faure. However, the most popular candidate is by far Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo. Although she previously declined to run, Hidalgo has recently changed her tune, stating that she plans to take full part in the election, without elaborating on what this meant. Hidalgo is the daughter of a Spanish socialist who fled to France after the Spanish Civil War, and is a longtime member of the PS. She worked as an advisor to several ministers during Lionel Jospin's PS-led government during the late 90s and early 2000s. She won a seat on the Paris City Council in 2001, becoming first deputy mayor, before being elected mayor herself in 2014. In office, Hidalgo made a name for herself by spearheading a campaign against cults like the Church of Scientology. As mayor, she has prioritized combating air pollution through the Paris Breathes campaign, and she has worked to resolve the city's housing issues, increasing the number of housing units from 2,000 new homes a year to 7,000, and aims for Paris to have 30% social housing by 2030. Hidalgo is broadly considered to be in the center of the PS, between the explicitly neoliberal right wing and the socialist left wing. Polls show her to be one of the most popular candidates among left-wing voters from all parties, but she has remained ambiguous about her intentions. Hidalgo has hinted that if she were to run, she would run in a primary against ecologist candidates like Jadot and Piolle. However, it remains unclear if the EELV would allow her to do so. Although the PS, La France Insoumise, and EELV have expressed a willingness to cooperate in 2022, the PCF has remained steadfast in its determination to field its own candidate, after supporting Melanchon's candidacies in 2012 and 2017. So far, only one name has emerged from the PCF as a potential candidate, National Secretary Fabien Roussel. Born into a communist family, Fabien Roussel joined the PCF's youth wing during his high school years. He worked as a journalist for several years, and then in 1997 he became communications director for PCF politician Michèle Dumassin during her tenure as tourism minister under Lionel Jospin's cohabitation government. Later, Roussel worked for several other PCF politicians, eventually working for Alain Bouquet, a member of the National Assembly and mayor of Saint-Amand-les-Eaux, who became Roussel's mentor. Roussel joined the national leadership of the PCF in 2010, and in 2014, Bouquet asked him to run for the municipal council in Saint-Amand-les-Eaux, to which he was elected. When Bouquet retired from the National Assembly in 2017, Roussel was elected to succeed his outgoing mentor. At the 2018 Congress of the PCF, Roussel led a motion with André Chassaigne, which sought to re-establish the political autonomy and identity of the PCF in the wake of the Front de Gauche's collapse. Their motion challenged the proposal of the National Council, led by outgoing National Secretary Pierre Laurent. Roussel's motion was successful, and he was elected to succeed Laurent as National Secretary. If Roussel does run in 2022, he is unlikely to win even 3% of the vote. In the 2019 European elections, the PCF won only 2.5% of the vote and lost all its MEPs. Polls have placed Roussel around 1.5% of the vote nationally. However, it is important to note that his goal will not be to win the election, but to re-establish the PCF as an independent force within French politics. What this will mean for the rest of French politics remains to be seen, although speculation has begun that it may present challenges for Melanchon. The uncertainty that has defined French politics since 2017 appears to be worsening as 2022 approaches. Polling indicates that France is headed for a virtual repeat of the 2017 election, with Le Pen and Macron neck and neck in the first round. For the left, a common candidacy looks like a desirable strategy to mount an effective challenge and to overcome this uncertainty. It is difficult to tell, however, which, if any, candidate can effectively rally the left's electorate and win the Elysee. As a longtime figure for the French left, and with two relatively successful campaigns behind him, Melanchon has positioned himself well and looks to be the strongest candidate in the polls. However, with his controversial political style and reputation for stubbornness, he may find it hard to rally the EELV and the PS to his side. The EELV will undoubtedly play a significant role in defining the left's direction in 2022, but the inter-party battle is already growing and could present serious challenges. While Jadot hopes to build on the EELV's recent electoral gains, his more moderate approach has drawn the ire of those to his left, including members of his own party, and may not be enough for him to tap into the discontent of the French public. Piolle, meanwhile, could be a candidate capable of uniting the left, but his relative obscurity makes him a long-shot contender. The PS, still reeling from its defeats, may not be able to field a candidate at all and ultimately throw their lot in with the EELV. But Anne Hidalgo remains subject of considerable speculation, and her relative popularity with the broader left could make her a serious contender for a unity candidate. However, her intentions at present remain ambiguous. Meanwhile, the PCF looks set to go its own way and reclaim its own identity and is unlikely to take part in a common front with any of the other parties. The French left faces serious challenges as 2022 approaches, and taking on both Macron and Le Pen is going to be an uphill battle for any left-wing candidate. But, as discontent with Macron grows, they may still have the opportunity to retake the Elysee in 2022. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe and check out my other videos, and be sure to hit that bell notification so you can find out when another video of mine comes out. And if you want to help me make more of these videos, please consider supporting me on Patreon. If you didn't like it, please leave a comment and let me know where I went wrong. Thanks so much, and solidarity.